You are listening to Unravel with Natalie Denise.
What's going on, guys? Sorry, I had a little technical difficulty there. I hope you guys are doing well. We're almost to Friday. That's tomorrow. I hope you guys are having a good week. I'm having a pretty productive week this week. I've got some things in the works for you guys. Some things in the works, including that documentary, man. I've been working, I'm telling you, every single time there's going to be 3 parts. I already said that. But every time we work on something, something else comes out, even if it's the intro part. So I've been working on that. I just got me some nice hot tea. Okay, good. It didn't get on my keyboard. Thank God. My gosh, I'm so clumsy sometimes. I made me some tea for tonight's cast. All right, what's up? What's up, chat? Let's see here. Hi, Melissa. Hey, Keem. Thank you for modding for me. I always appreciate you so much. Ken, what's going on? Jackie, hey. All right. Let me see. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into, because there's a lot of exploitation news. And so I thought, let's just cover that topic. Plus the headlines are a bit, you know what though? You know what? I actually need to upload this video on DJT creating that lawsuit. That's pretty big, right? Pretty dang big. It doesn't really have much more than we already know in the lawsuit. He kind of details it, but I think it's a pretty big deal. And I say this in my video. Let me see. Let me hit create, upload. Oop. So DJT, he filed a lawsuit against HRC. And this is big. This is actually really, really big. And I'll tell you why. The JD investigation, John Durham investigation, has been going on for quite some time now. A lot of people lost faith in this investigation. DJT versus HRC details. That's what I'm going to name it. A lot of people lost a lot of faith in this case because it took too long. And you know why that is? It's because we live in a microwave society where we expect things to happen right there and then, and we don't wait. We're not patient. And I think if you don't face a lot of adversity, which a lot of our population hasn't because they've had it easy, right? Not a lot of people, but those that do, they expect things to be immediate. And if it's not immediate, then they pout, they scream, they throw a tantrum, and they turn against the person who actually awakened everybody to all this corruption, right? So he filed that lawsuit today. I'm going to be posting a video with the details soon. But with that being said, that's one of the majors. He just details out really everything. But with that being said, let's jump to some exploitation news. Oh, okay. Is it not going to let me? This is so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Come on. Share. Oh my gosh. Really? Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to refresh this. No, I can't refresh it because it's going to kill my stream. Okay, well, no visuals today. I apologize because I've just been having so many technical difficulties with StreamYard. It's frustrating. You know what, though? I can do this. I sure can do this. Here we go. I'm going to give you guys a visual. How about this? Add an overlay. Add an overlay. Here we go. All right, it's going up. And then we'll do we'll do the next one. This is really the one you want a visual for. So we've been talking about Ketanji Brown Jackson. So this is the Daily Traffic, where I bring you guys the latest in human and sex trafficking news. Okay, I know we're still talking about Ketanji Brown. I know we are, but there's a reason we're doing this, because this is a person who's being appointed in the highest court of the land. Okay, she has bestowed leniency towards P's, the pedophiles of our world. And a lot of people are still supporting her, saying, oh, it's just Republicans doing all this. Well, guess what? A liberal left-leaning source, the Washington Post, they just reported this today. The child pornography case at the center of Ketanji Brown Jackson's hearing. And they go into detail about how this person possibly reoffended again because of his light sentence. So let's go into some details again. This is coming from the Washington Post. It says the child pornography case in the center of Ketanji Brown Jackson's hearing. And it says, over 3 days, Senate Republicans have most often returned to the sentencing decision by Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson to try to paint her approach over the decade on the federal bench as a dangerously soft on crime. Republican criticism of Jackson's 2013 decision, which sent a then 19-year-old Wesley Hawkins away to prison for 3 months for child pornography, continued Wednesday, but with a new pointed line of attack. Senators allege Hawkins must have committed additional sex crimes in the nation's capital to end up back before Jackson in 2019. Some of the records in the case are sealed, but the Washington Post has pieced together previously unreported aspects. Yes, that's right, guys. The Washington Post, of all people, of all outlets, have pieced together pieces of this case to paint a story. I mean, if the Washington Post is posting about this, if they're publishing this article and saying, hey, we gathered the details of all these pieces and we're putting it together, this person may have reoffended. That's right. So they put it together. Senator Hawkins had come to the attention of law enforcement in 2012, the perpetrator in all this, when, as an 18-year-old, he uploaded to YouTube 5 videos of prepubescent boys engaged in sex acts. An undercover detective soon emailed him, suggested the two had similar interests. Hawkins emailed the agent so you're telling me this was an undercover situation? You're telling me this was an undercover situation? And he got caught and he got let off by 3 months. Imagine, let's focus on that for a little bit, right? Law enforcement already have it stacked up against them. Law enforcement, for instance, I'll just give you an example. Here in Houston, the HPD, Human Trafficking Task Force, they are only budgeted about $3 million to combat an entire Houstonian industry of sex trafficking. That's just an example. That's just one city. That's my city, Houston, right? So with that budget, it doesn't talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it. They go through the entire expenditures of hard labor, investigation, undercover work, documentation, right? Talk about a process of getting somebody arrested and catching them. Then they go to court to receive due justice on the horrible crimes of what I just listed with these prepubescent boys uploaded to YouTube. And all of that work gets obliterated. All that work gets obliterated by one judge who had a leniency towards this 19-year-old guy. So the law enforcement aspect, I just, God protect our law enforcement in these instances, right? I know that there's some bad apples in the law enforcement. I know that there is. It's in every industry. There's infiltration in every single industry. But there are those that want to actually make a difference in what they do with the community, with the world. And so they do all of this hard work only for it to get shut down with 3 months. Hawkins cooperated with the investigation. Federal prosecutors said in court filings they wrote that that recent high school graduate had agreed to be interviewed by detectives. He admitted possession, entered the pre-indictment guilty plea, and took full responsibility for his actions. Although federal guidelines called for a sentence of 8 to 10 years, prosecutors said that given Hawkins' age and lack of criminal record, they recommended 2 years. According to documents given to senators, U.S. probation officer recommended a year and a half. Hawkins' defense attorney, where is my banner? Where are my uploads here? There we go. Hawkins' defense attorney asked for far less, a sentence of 1 day in jail, home detention, and 5 years of supervised release. 1 day in jail. 1 day in jail. That's what his lawyer requested. 1 day in jail for uploading exploited boys on YouTube. The attorney said that Hawkins was not dangerous and had a sexual identity issue complicated by his mother's strict religious beliefs, and his offense was prompted by teenage sexual drive, not by intrinsic sexual attraction to significantly younger children. But he produced or posted these children online. I don't understand their argument here. It's pretty straightforward. Jackson, who was then a federal district court judge for DC, this is Ketanji they're talking about now, said in court that Hawkins had committed a very serious and in many ways heinous crime, and one that capitalizes on victimization of the most vulnerable members of our society. I cannot express adequately how horrifying this is for me. Know that somewhere out there are children who are being trapped and molested and raped for the viewing pleasure of people like yourself. So initially she had the right opinion, right? Yet, Jackson said she was also persuaded by some of the defense arguments, as well as her own review of the record, including that Hawkins had not produced any of the videos. Oh, okay, so he didn't produce them. He didn't produce any of the videos or taken any of the pictures, but exchanged ones that he found online. Addressing Hawkins, she said, "You were only involved in this for a few months, and that other than your engagement with the undercover officer, there is an indication that you were in any online communities to advance your collecting behavior." But yet in the hearing, she was arguing in defense of that as well. Like, as long as you're not in a Reddit CSM community, right? Like, this doesn't exhibit your behavior for your inclination towards children. Jackson said the relative age of those Hawkins was viewing also had to be weighed. Most child pornography offenders are middle-aged adults who are deviants drawn to pictures of vulnerable children. This case is different because the children in the photos and the videos you collected were not much younger than you. Again, the children were 8. Hawkins was 19 or 18 years old. And she's saying that they're not much younger than him. This seems to be a situation in which you were fascinated by sexual images involving what were essentially your peers. Your peers. So an 8-year-old and an 18-year-old are peers now? In a handwritten letter 3 days before sentencing that is in court filed, Hawkins asked Jackson for a second chance. "I cannot say how much regret I have done. I have disappointed everyone in my family and everyone who has ever cared about me. I hope that I can make up my mistakes and that this will not end my life before it starts." This is what the perpetrator said. Jackson imposed a prison term of 3 months, followed by 3 months of home detention and 6 years of supervision, while she warned Hawkins that he had jeopardized his future. She said that she hoped he would rehabilitate and become a productive member of society, noting that he had been accepted to college. Senator Josh Hawley recently called the sentence a slap on the wrist and repeatedly pressed Jackson on Wednesday to say whether she regretted not handing down a longer prison term. Senator Tom Cotton cited in 2019 a court order from Jackson that required Hawkins, the perpetrator, to enter a halfway house to complete at least 6 months of his 6-year term of supervision. The order reiterated earlier terms of his supervision that his computer and property were subject to search at any time and added the condition of computer monitoring software. The underlying request that prompted Jackson's 2019 order is sealed, which is typical for such probation office applications. Cotton asked Jackson in the recent hearing for her to be confirmed as judge. Cotton asked Jackson whether Hawkins had committed additional sex crimes. What did Wesley Hawkins do in 2019, Judge? Cotton asked. I don't remember, Jackson replied. Cotton scoffed, saying he did not find Jackson's answers credible. You've been asked about it probably more than any other case you've had, he said, referring to the many hours that Republicans had focused on the case since the start of the Senate confirmation. You know what I think? I think he got caught with child pornography again. And he wouldn't have, if he would been in prison 8 to 10 years, the guidelines called for, Cotton said. The person familiar with the Hawkins case read to the Post the probation office request that led to Jackson's order. So somebody who was in anonymity, who knew about this case, they spilled the tea to Washington Post. And they gave him a little bit more information. They say the person spoke in the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to publicly discuss it. The probation office petition did not allege that Hawkins committed any new sexual offense or violation of conditions. However, it stated that despite being in treatment for more than 5 years, Hawkins continues to seek out sexually arousing, non-pornographic material and images of 13 to 16 years old. So he continues to seek out, reoffending the initial subject matter. So he kept going about seeking out this type of sexual exploitation material of kids after his 3-month sentence to prison. The Post had not found any subsequent criminal warrants or arrests for Hawkins. He has been registered as a sex offender since 2014. Jackson has forcibly defended her sentencing decisions and called the act of balancing punishment to reflect the seriousness of the crime with the circumstances of the case, the essence of what the judge is called to do. At Hawkins' November 2013 sentencing, she cast the challenge as finding a just sentence, one that allows you, Mr. Hawkins, to spend enough time in prison to understand and appreciate the consequences of your actions, but not so long that you will be subjected to harm in prison or introduced to incorrigible influences such that you are lost to society forever. So there's more. There you go. There is that. That's more information for you guys. This is a good point right here. What a Doll's Life says, putting him in a halfway house just puts him around more vulnerable youngsters. That's correct. Absolutely correct. Because, this also encompasses, or it includes, the troubled youth that have, a broken family, have broken systems, have broken situations. And so they end up in the streets, drug users or what have you. They end up at a halfway house. So these are also broken individuals, broken youth. So this is a good point too. Ken says, she is soft on pedophiles. Wonder about the Hunter laptop. Could be why. Yep. You guys are wondering, the Hunter Biden laptop. If you guys are not familiar with that, whether you're watching me right here or if you're listening on audio podcast, you guys should go look into Hunter Biden's laptop, because there are pretty egregious allegations coming from the contents of his laptop, including exploitation of children, And so if this ever becomes, possibly something for a subject for the Supreme Court, it's pretty dark. All right. The next story is coming from ElPasoInc.com. Ex-emergency room doctor gets 100 months in child porn case. A former emergency room doctor at the University of Vermont Medical Center in Burlington is going to spend more than 8 years in prison after pleading guilty to a federal child pornography charge. A former emergency room doctor, which is really sad, just they see all demographics, all ages, who knows? So he was an emergency room doctor at the University of Vermont Medical Center in Burlington. He was sentenced Tuesday to more than 8 years in prison after his guilty plea to a federal child pornography charge. Ike Blom, 39, of South Burlington, was sentenced to U.S. District Court in Burlington to serve 100 months in prison. The federal sentence will run concurrently with an 80 to 82-month state sentence on a related conviction. Blom was charged in state court in April of 2020 with setting up a hidden video camera in a staff bathroom at the Burlington Hospital. Investigators later discovered images of child pornography at his home. State investigators discovered approximately 1,300 videos on camera. Approximately 900 videos depicted hospital employees in at least 2 bathrooms in the Burlington Hospital. Blom was fired from his job at the hospital. Blom's attorney didn't respond Tuesday for a request for comments. A doctor. My gosh. And then coming from the denverchannel.com, this is from Colorado. A man is sentenced to 200 years in prison for sexually assaulting 3 children. Come on, I know you can work. Here we go. For sexually assaulting 3 children. Let's add this. Here we go. And it reads, a man sentenced to 200 years in prison for sexually assaulting 3 children over 4 years, the 18th Judicial District Attorney's Office announced Tuesday. On August 26, 2018, an Aurora father told police that his son had been sexually assaulted by his adult cousins, 35-year-old Brian Eugene Barcelona, according to District Attorney's Office. There we go. This is a screenshot of the headline here. Authorities began an investigation and discovered that between 2015 and 2018, Barcelona had repeatedly sexually assaulted the child and his 2 siblings, whose ages ranged 10 to 13. Photographs of the sexual abuse were found on Barcelona's phone, where he was arrested, according to the district attorney's office. Barcelona pleaded not guilty, and his trial began October 25th, 2021. After a 7-day trial, he was found guilty of 12 counts of sexual assault of a child by one in a position of trust and 4 counts of sexual exploitation of a child, the district attorney's office said. In all my years of prosecuting these types of cases, I struggle to recall another one involving such a severe abuse or brazen conduct, said Senior Deputy District Attorney Danielle Jaramillo. The defendant felt secure in his ability to exploit his position of trust to silence these children that he actually kept photographs as trophies. Judge Joseph Whitfield sentenced Barcelona to 200 years in prison. Good. My gosh, it's so rare to see actual justice served out, right? This predator selfishly sacrificed the well-being of his own relatives and to satisfy his depraved desires. District Attorney John Kellner said, I am grateful for the bravery of these young victims who came forward to put a stop to this destructive manipulation. Thank God. All right. The next story coming from justice.gov, and this is coming from the Connecticut area. A Windsor-locked man, let me take this off. A Windsor-locked man, Leonard C. Boyle, United States Attorney for the District of Connecticut, and Matthew B. Milholland, Special Agent in Charge, Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, Boston, today announced that Justin McKenney, 27, of Windsor Locks, has been charged by federal criminal complaint with multiple child exploitation offenses. McKinney was arrested March 17, 2022 in Boston, where he was employed. Following his arrest, he appeared before U.S. Magistrate Judge Thomas O. Farish in Hartford, who ordered McKinney detained. As alleged in court documents, in October of 2021, Glastonbury police began investigating the sexual assault of a 13-year-old girl by an individual she met on Snapchat. The investigation revealed that McKinney, posing as a high school student and using the Snapchat username Keeping Up G, began communicating with the minor victim in September of 2021 when he subsequently enticed her to engage in sexual activity. It is further alleged between October 2021 and February 2022, McKinney used Snapchat to engage in sexually explicit communications with at least 6 other minor females in other states. McKinney sent sexually explicit messages and sextually, I didn't know that was a word. They made a new word, spelled Sextually. I didn't know that was a word. They sexually explicit images and videos of himself to minor victims, and he received sexually explicit images and videos from minor victims. The complaint charges McKinney with the enticement of a minor to engage in illegal sexual activity, which carries a mandatory minimum term of imprisonment of 10 years and a maximum term of imprisonment of life. Receipt of child pornography, which carries a mandatory minimum term of imprisonment for 5 years and a max of 20. Possession of child pornography, which carries a max imprisonment of 10 years, and a transfer of obscene material to a minor, which carries a max term of 10 years. Okay, so Snapchat, once again, these platforms, social media platforms, we read this every day almost, that a child is ensnared through these platforms. Okay, so the next story coming from, again, justice.gov. Sorry, I got confused for a second because it's the same justice.gov interface. This is from the area of Maryland. An Elkton man admits to possessing over 2,000 depictions of child pornography. This is from Baltimore, Maryland. Jacob Matthias Rubenstein, 48, of Elkton, Maryland, pleaded not guilty today for the distribution of child pornography. The guilty plea was announced by the United States Attorney for the District of Maryland, Eric L. Barron, Special Agent in Charge James R. Mancuso of Homeland Security Investigations, and Colonel Woodrow Jones III, Superintendent of the Maryland State Police. According to his guilty plea on September 4th, 2020, the Maryland State Police received a cyber tip report from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children regarding a referral from social media platform. The report involved an account user who was suspected to have possessed and distributed child pornography on the social media platform. The account user associated with the explicit images was linked to the email address jaker1301@protonmail.com, and an IP address was located at Rubenstein's Elkton, Maryland residence. On February 4th, 2021, and National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received a second tip from an instant messaging application regarding an account user registered under the email jaker1301@protonmail.com. I read that part. I apologize. As a result of the executed search warrants on Rubenstein's various online accounts, investigators discovered that Rubenstein at times posed as minors during his online communication with minors and distributed child pornography to other internet users. For example, September 20th, 2020, Rubenstein used a social media account to communicate with a 10-year-old victim. During communication with the minor victim, Rubenstein posed as a minor himself and convinced minor victim 1 that he went to her local school. Rubenstein sent 2 sexually explicit videos to minor victim 1 and depicted 2 minor females engaged in sexually explicit conduct. Minor victim 1 then recorded videos of herself in a nude state and sent the video to Rubenstein. Rubenstein, on January 12, 2021, used the same email address to distribute a video to a user in an instant messenger application and depicted a lewd display of prepubescent females' naked genitals. As stated in his plea agreement on February 16, 2021, MSP and HSI executed a search warrant at Rubenstein's residence where one cell phone at 64 GB SD card and 2 laptops were seized. A forensic review of these devices revealed that Rubenstein possessed over 1,160 pictures, 970 videos of child pornography, including 2-hour video compilation depicting the sexual abuse of minors, children, child victims ranging from prepubescent toddlers and teenagers. Rubenstein faces a minimum sentence of 5 years in prison and a maximum of 20 years in prison. That is 20, followed up by a lifetime of supervised release for distributed child pornography. U.S. District Judge Richard D. Bennett has scheduled a sentencing for June 21st, 2022 at 2:30 p.m. It's, again, extraordinary. Just new days, new days, new stories every single time. Oh, every single time. It's huge time. These apps are huge time in exploitation, huge time in ensnaring minor victims. Actually, I don't know if I covered this about Roblox. I remember there was a story on Roblox. It's a child's game. There are active predators on there where they are posing as little girls, as little boys, and they are exploiting children on that. So FYI for parents out there, Roblox is no good either. But all the other social media platforms where you can communicate, you've got to really monitor your children. Get those monitoring softwares or apps out there for parental controls. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it short tonight. I do have some other projects that I've got to work on. And so just for today, I'm going to cut it short. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for being interested in these subject matters and keeping yourself informed. We will have another episode tomorrow, Friday. Last week, I mistaken Thursday for Friday, but tomorrow is Friday. We will have another episode. So I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll see what unfolds. Once again, have a great night, guys. I'll catch you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Unravel with Natalie Denise. Please give this podcast 5 stars.